I brought Pauper decks to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back, playing that cheap shit. I brought Pauper decks to the party. Brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back, playing that cheap shit. Yo, bounce the mythic res the fuck up out of here. Louis V, JK's pulling out his cloud of air. My deck's like 15 cents a card. Mono white like Escobar, flipping the card like Loyal Thor. I used to be a zombie at the bar. Now I puff law. I'm essential like drafting bombs. I got mad spells in my palms. Bird soldiers lucky eagles when I stuff the palm. Guru lands for my mans, I can't afford it. I choose Zendikar. Nonetheless, I'm looking fresher than the average motherfucker after F&M playing Euro. It's all love, shuffle up. Brought my foiled out Delver from the vault, and I'm going up to motherfuckers with it like, what's up? Nobody cares, they're just staring. We're the nerds in the back and it's apparent, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's play. I brought Pauper decks to the party. I brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back, playing that cheap shit. Yo, I brought Pauper decks to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper decks to the party. In the front, they're playing limbo or some shit, throwing shots. I don't give a fuck. I'm in the back with my eyes on which cards my opponent put back. From the brainstorm, I transformed and mutated and flipped out. Played a couple games and then I dipped out. I got shit to do. I only play a game or two, but yo, feel the agony of defeat while I cast agony war. Passerbys peep the shoes on my feet. I'm wearing some shit, neon green they ain't seen before. I fiend for more, fresh kicks and foils. But tonight we keep it cheap, playing Pauper. Come on. I brought Pauper decks to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back, playing that cheap shit. Yo, I brought Pauper decks to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back, playing that cheap shit. I brought Pauper decks to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back, playing that cheap shit. I brought Pauper decks to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back, playing that cheap shit. Yo, bounce Testament that grins the fuck up out of here. Louis V. J. Case pulling out his cloud of air. My deck's like 15 cents a card. Mono white like Escobar. Flipping the card like Loyal Thor. I used to be a zombie at the bar. Now I puff law. I'm essential like drafting bombs. I got mad spells in my palms. Bird soldiers lucky eagles when I stuff the palm. Guru lands for my mans, I can't afford it. I choose Zendikar. Nonetheless, I'm looking fresher than the average motherfucker after F&M playing Euro. It's all love, shuffle up. I brought my foiled out Delver from the vault, and I'm going up to motherfuckers with it like, what's up? Nobody cares, they're just staring. We're the nerds in the back and it's apparent, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's play. I brought Pauper decks to the party. Paul. I brought Pauper decks to the party. We in the back.
Hello, we are live. Welcome, everybody, all 7 or 8 of you in the chat right now, to what we got here, episode 48 of the PDH Pod. We are the one and only Magic the Gathering podcast dedicated to the total exploration of the Pauper Commander format. I am here live with my upside-down co-host, Dave the Alcadron Vader. How's it going?
Terrible. I'm sick.
Was it your idea for a live show?
This was my idea, and then
you almost called in sick.
This was my idea, and then it's okay. I just got...
You got bags and bags of cough drops. Yeah.
Bags and bags of cough drops. I'm all set.
You had some sweet nuggies.
So. I did just finish the nuggies. Yeah. Yep. Just missed me eating dinner.
Chicken nuggets.
Delicious nuggies.
Yep. And then you're probably gonna crash afterwards, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm falling into a couch. I'm not out in the bed. My wife has a very, very fragile immune system, so if I take my sick ass up there and try to sleep next to her, she's definitely getting sick, and then right. She will hurt me, and then it's bad for both of us. So.
Yeah, it's just a vicious cycle. I'm
gonna drag my ass to the couch and pass out.
Yep.
I'm in a similar boat, but I'm a couple Benadryl and a couple cups of coffee short down. So we'll try to English well, and we'll try to make it through.
Yeah, Benadryl and coffee. That's like Hatman territory. You're gonna start hallucinating here shortly.
It's like your body's like, we must pass out, but there's too much caffeine.
That's right. Well, that is the voice. You probably see him on screen down there at the bottom. That is Liam, the PDH PhD. How are you? Also sick?
A little bit. I don't think quite as bad as Dave is, but I'm getting there. It's been downhill trend all day. So yeah, it's that time of year.
Yeah. Oh, that's brutal. I'm usually pretty healthy during the spring and summer months. It's the rest of the year that kicks my butt. So what we got going on today, Dave? This was sort of your idea. We talked about it last week. Spur of the moment. What are we going to be doing today?
I recently received...
There is a reason you're upside down.
Yes. Yeah. I recently received a box.
Ooh, I like that.
Looks box. Like this. It's from Card Kingdom. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm upside down, I keep this camera sort of mounted upside down so that I can just sort of like aim it down at my playmat like this, and then it's right side up. So here's a box.
Because if I do that with my camera, I'm upside down. You've done it the smart way.
It's because I'm Spider-Man, sis whales. Yeah, I probably should change it because like I didn't realize that Spell Table was so easy to just flip flip the video
Flip the
around.
video, yeah.
Yeah, but been like this for a while, and
It works.
honestly, before Spell Table existed, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What's
I have
that
this
box
box
there?
here. This box is my order from Card Kingdom.
Mhm.
It arrived over the weekend.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Bye, Gold Travesty. We'll miss you.
Oh, see you, Gold. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, and I think we're overdue for a live episode because it was super fun, and I like chatting with people on Twitch.
It's been about half a year, so yeah, it's time.
And
it's time.
I figured the arrival of this box and the live episode could coincide into like, I don't really want the episode to be about me updating my decks. I just thought that me updating my decks could be a nice like backdrop for whatever more interesting conversation we had.
Right.
Over top of me updating my deck.
Sure.
So
and this is something,
I'm
I
just
know
gonna-
you've mentioned it on the show sort of in passing here and there, but this is something you do generally with every standard set, or you try to do it with every release, or how's...
I try to do it once every couple set.
Okay.
So like this box is mostly cards from OLB1 and March of the Machines. Sometimes I'll do it like every big set if there's a lot of things to do. Like a couple of years ago was rough because we got like, we got Baldur's Gate, and I did a huge order for Baldur's Gate, and then we got Neon Dynasty, and it was massive. Yeah.
Did you do one for like DMU and Brothers War and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think there was one for the both of those.
Now, see, in my mind, you have what, 90 paper decks? Is that correct?
I'm up to 97.
97. So I'm thinking 3 or 4 cards per deck. We're looking at 300 cards. That looks like more than 300 cards. That's all.
This is 353.
Is it really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna open that up. There's gonna be like a pack of peanuts, blue box, and that blue box is gonna be.
I've never actually ordered
box.
from Card Kingdom. They look like they ship well.
They do. You certainly pay for it.
Yeah, do you? I've used them plenty for the buy list, but not for.
There's my full name and address, in case anyone wanted that. Packing peanuts.
Packing peanuts. Liam called it. There they are.
A blue box. Is there anything else? Okay, these are all just packing peanuts. Okay, we're gonna
gotta show us the token and the sticker.
The what?
There's going to be a token, and there's probably a sticker.
Okay.
Ooh, fancy.
Let's see. So far, there's styrofoam.
You just ordered styrofoam and packing peanuts.
I'm here, but my volume is off.
Cool. What's up, Sniff? Welcome.
What I'm hearing from Sniff is that now is the time to make fun of him because he can't hear us.
He can't hear us. That's right. If you're gonna say something bad about Sniff, now is the time.
Now is the time. I heard that. Oh, Angel.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's sort of like Dave said. He's going to be updating his decks, going through the cards he got, all that fun stuff. And meanwhile, we'll just sort of have some casual conversation and see kind of where it comes up. We just wanted to keep this one sort of casual. Another live episode. We haven't done one in a while. So, but did we have any this week in Magic, Liam? We got anything by chance?
Do you want me to talk about Secret Lair? I got Secret Lair news.
The fans love it.
So, who remembers the Secret Lair Commander deck they did 2.5 years ago? Where it was the coin flip. Heads I win, tails you lose. And it took like a year and a month to ship to get to people.
Yeah, people just got them like 6 months ago.
So Wizards has decided they're doing that again. It's called Secret Lair Commander Cute to Brute. It's the first double face card precon. There's like 40, 50 double face cards in this precon. And instead of $100, it is $150. Because why not? The most delayed Secret Lair, we're doing it again, and we're increasing the cost.
Yeah.
But
another 50%.
Right. But the one thing they did correctly is it is not print to demand. I think one of the shortcomings of the last one was it was print to demand, and it was more popular than they were expecting. And I think that's why it took so long. So for this one, it's actually already pre-printed. It went live for sale like 2 days ago. I think it's still in stock, but like it's pre-printed. When you order, it ships. And
oh, nice.
So when they run out, they run out.
Right.
I still think raising the price was the wrong move, but I definitely think pre-printing it was the right move.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like the right move.
I think that I like that a lot of secret layers are print to demand. I like that they come in non-foil and foil, and occasionally halo foil or foil etched or whatever the special treatment is for the set.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as they experiment with secret layer, things like the commander decks being this is a pre-printed product, this is not print to demand, I think that's okay. Like the secret layer ultimate editions being a pre-printed product, not print to demand, I think that's okay. The regular secret layers that we get every other week, those should absolutely be printed to demand. But at this point in time, I think across the board on secret layers, they are ahead. Whenever they make an announcement, they already have some amount of those that are being announced pre-printed and ready to ship. Because I've seen people getting these secret layers, they're like the newest ones, in like a week or two after they order, because they opened right when it opened up. And the secret layer is still able to be ordered for another form. Able to be ordered for another form. I think they're all caught up, which is really good.
Yeah,
I have a very important question.
Yes.
Yeah.
I finally got some Alms of the Vein. Do I replace this masterpiece in my Vohar deck?
No.
No.
I think you sign it and send it to somebody.
Yeah. Who wants an Alms of the Vein?
A beauty, if you will.
Look at
drip.
This artistic
the
talent
blood.
on
I see
display.
the fangs. It's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely a guy's arm. It's not a fork.
Beautiful.
I was playing with Vohar. No, I was playing with Lobert using my Vohar deck last week, and I won the Vohar game by casting Alms of the Vein like 3 times.
Oh yeah. I caught the end of that one.
Yeah,
it was just cast it and bring it back, and cast it, bring it back, cast it, bring it back.
I cast it because I drew it and I just cast it off of Vohar for free because Vohar just makes you discard and the madness is nuts. And then I put it back on top with Mystic Sanctuary, and then passed my turn because I can just tap Vohar to cast it for free whenever I want. And then I sacrificed Vohar on my next main step to cast it one last time.
I did catch the end of that stream. You did do like 12 or 15 consecutive damage with Alms of the Vein. It was awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot of almsing.
There was a lot of almsing, that's for sure.
Yeah, like when I built this Vohar deck, I thought really hard about trying to use the looting to make a deck that could like very reliably find its combo. I was like, no, that's combo. Like I want to go into the drain factor. So like the only like real win con in the deck is stuff like Stronghold Discipline. Stronghold Discipline is a 4-mana sorcery that says each player loses life equals the number of creatures they control.
Yeah.
And like Fruit of Tyzerus is part of my win condition. Just target player loses 2 life with escape.
Yep.
Like, yeah. Because like Stronghold Discipline, like, if someone has 4 creatures or 5 creatures, you can cast this and then immediately flash it back with Vohar.
Gross.
And like that can get out of hand. So like stuff, like Alms of the Vein did a lot of damage. Like Vampire's Kiss.
And it's not
weirdly
hard in PDH
really
for
good.
your opponents to have 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 creatures on board.
Oh yeah, if you're playing against a gut deck, you can
sure.
do some silly gut blowouts.
That's hilarious. Or a Vigilance tribal deck, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, so like this deck's only like real win condition is just, weird incremental life drain. Things like Corrupt. I've got Drain life in here.
Yep.
And then just like Alms of the Vein, Vampire's Kiss, Fruit of Tyzerus. Yeah. It's cool. I'm gonna update this one first.
So you actually go through, update the paper version at the same time you're updating the Mox Field list.
No.
No.
No, so the whole process start to finish is actually kind of an ordeal.
Mhm.
I will when the new set is fully spoiled, I will go on my actually let me turn my camera off and I'll start sharing my screen instead.
Sure. Ooh, special guest
Wait, no, hold on.
Moxfield.
I don't want to do that. Let me okay. Share screen. Moxfield. Okay. That's all fine. Go live. Did that work? So Elk is updating all 97 of his decks right now.
Kinda?
No. I think I'm gonna get
I'm
through
here-
like 10. Asked
here
another
for
way, is this a 24-hour stream? No. I have a very important date with my couch in a couple hours
Shortly,
that I
yeah.
absolutely cannot miss.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, I do not have your stream if you're streaming your screen.
it looks like I am. Like it's
Yeah,
popping up
I
in
can
Discord.
I can watch it.
Watch stream. Let's click it that way. All right, ready, set, brew. Thanks, Moxfield. Special guest Moxfield
Okay.
is in the house.
Here we go. So oh yeah, we're up to 158 of these.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah,
That's-
so let me
There's a thing
Let me
called
find-
folders, Alk.
yeah, I
like
have
your,
a bunch of them in folders.
I respect your naming conventions. They're very organized.
Makes it
you know
really
what?
easy for
It
me to
does.
find
Like
them.
I'm just random. Like, what song lyric is stuck in my head, and how can I twist that to fit the deck? And then I don't even know what it is. I have to scroll through all my decks to figure out what they are.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up something that I worked on a couple months ago but never finished, so I can because like the step I'm about to show on stream is something that I don't need to do for like any of the decks that I have in paper.
Mhm.
So we'll go with something else. We'll go with okay, here's a Dragon Mage deck that I designed but I don't have in paper, so I updated it pretty recently. What I'll do is I'll go into the Moxfield search bar and all you have to type is set mom. And then you hit enter and it will show you every single card from mom. Oh, I guess you could, if you wanted to, you could add new rarity and then it won't show you reprints. So this is every single, there are 24 cards in Mother of Machines that are new. You could go into this deck. And so I'll look through them and I'll be like, which of these do I think
go
would
in
be
the
good?
deck, not that already are
Yeah.
in that deck.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the search bar is for adding cards.
Cool.
So like I'll look through it and I'll be like, which of these do I think might be good in the deck? Like Beamtown Beatstick might have a place in the Dragon. I don't know. I'm not confident in that,
Sure.
but it seems likely. So I'll click on it and I'll add it to the sideboard. And then I'll go through the rest of these. Dragon Mage wants really cheap burn. So like here's a burn spell, but it's not cheap. I don't think
Not
I need
super
this.
cheap. Sure.
This is really expensive. I definitely don't want that. This guy looks really, really good until you see the word battle in it.
Well, yeah, I almost picked him on our set review episode.
Ren's Resolve. Yes, we definitely need Ren's Resolve in the sideboard. Okay. So it looks like in this deck there's probably 2 cards that I might add to the Dragon Mage list.
Okay.
From Mother of Machines. So every time a new set comes out, I'll go through that process for every single deck. I'll open the deck, I'll type the name of the set into the search bar here, and I'll see which cards might potentially be something in that deck.
Sure.
And that leaves me with this little sideboard here. And then later,
Okay. Yep.
I go through and I say, okay, there's 2 cards that might go into this deck, which means if I want them here, I need to find 2 cuts. So I'll stare at the deck for 20 minutes, an hour, something, and I'll be like, well, maybe Incinerate is worse than the Beat Stick. It's probably not, but
Right. For example.
I'll find a card, and like I have everything sorted by its like tag. Like these are the 11 cards that give haste. Maybe I don't need 11 cards that give haste. Maybe I can cut a Crystal Slipper, which as equipment goes, feels
I have
like
a
it may be
question.
worse than the. Yeah.
what is the I Heart Sniff category, and how many of your decks have that?
I Heart Sniff is for Howling Golems and Scare Tillers.
Okay.
It's like I have a lot of decks that like don't meaningfully utilize. Like I have a lot of decks that Howling Golem doesn't synergize with. Like it's just
Yeah.
a good card in the deck.
Right.
And like I have a lot of decks that like, you know, Scare Tiller. Sometimes I'll put it in the ramp package. Like I'm not gonna create like a draw spell or a draw category in the Dragon Mage deck just so I can put Howling Golem in it and nothing
Right.
else. Like that doesn't make sense. So like, yeah, I Heart Sniff just is it's for Howling Golem, Scare Tillers, Duo Drones, and in this case, Coronation of Chaos because I think the card is fun, but it doesn't fit with any of the other. It's just very pals meta, silly nonsense.
That's
But
fair.
yeah, so I'll find a card that might not be great, and I will change its tag to cut me. And now I'll know that I'm finished when the number of cards in the cut me category. Actually, I usually weirdly this is like case sensitive. So if you make it lowercase, it puts it at the end, right above the sideboard.
Right above this. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful.
So I'm
Very
seeing now
nice.
that this deck probably doesn't even run Reckless Impulse. So maybe I don't need Ren's Resolve. So I'll move this into the considering pile. So it's still there. There's still like a record that I thought about it in the deck, and maybe I'll put it back later. But like right now, I have my sideboard is the one card I want to add. The cut me is the one card I want to actually cut. So I'll go through this process for every single deck, and then I'll place a 350 card order through Card Kingdom. And now, like we can go back to my decks. We can find Vohar. There it is.
North Dakota said you could probably drop a land for that beat stick, and then Wales said there's only Forgotten Cave for Scare Tiller.
No, with Dragon Mage, you're discarding your hand. There's a lot of basics for Scare Tiller.
Tis true.
Yeah. So, this is weird. Okay, so the Vohar deck doesn't have a sideboard, which I guess means there's nothing in here from other Marching Machines that I wanted to add. Is that correct?
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that being the case.
Yeah, I guess there's no new Madness spells, and there's no like really good. Like the new Destroy a Creature, Make a Treasure is fine, but like it's not better than Victim of Night.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's no Go for the Throat.
Yeah.
There's no new board wipes that I need. Yeah, okay. So I will. Here's another thing I do. It's a little cheeky.
We like cheeks.
When you go to your decks thing, I have this thing organized so that it's the most recent edits are on top and the most far away edits are on the bottom. So a lot of times I'll like start working my way through it like from the bottom, so that they leave the bottom and become edited recently, and then they're not here anymore. So if I find that I don't need to edit a deck, I'll just add a copy of a card, take away a copy of a card. Now it's been edited recently,
now
and
it's
it
at
leaves.
the bottom. Or yeah. Not bottom.
So in this particular case, I'm not actually going to go through it in like order from bottom to top. I have a small collection of decks that I brought from I have a bunch of. I keep my decks on shelves in the living room upstairs, and I just brought a big handful of them down that I thought were like iconic.
Yeah.
That people might want to watch. So I'm not going to go in order at all, but
yeah, cool. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting process. I'm really bad about. I can never merge Moxfield and paper together. Either I'm digitally building decks on Moxfield and I never put them together in paper, or I update paper decks and I forget to do it on Moxfield. Like it gets to the point where I just have to like erase the whole Moxfield deck and start over because I've changed the deck so much that
I am
it's
this
just
way
easier to put it all in at once.
And I'm about 3 seconds away from just straight up like not using any online.
Yeah.
Like, what cards do I have? Build the list out of that, and then just like start ordering singles as I need.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so bad about updating Moxfield. It's crazy.
go back to staring at the Twitch chat. Drop a land for the beat stick. Surely that won't go wrong.
It's mono red. What could possibly?
I have your Dragon Mage in paper. Oh, that's amazing. How is
Yeah,
it? I've actually never played with it.
It is fun to play against.
Wait,
Is it?
You're actively editing a deck you've never built.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have. I mentioned that I have, 97 decks built in paper, but there are 158 listed here.
Right.
Yeah, but you've never built Dragon Rage. Like
I've never built Dragon. This folder right here that says unfinished.
Yeah.
These are 32 decks that I've never built.
Jeez.
You just put them together on Moxfield and
I throw a list together to see, is this a thing that I think I'm going to like?
Yeah.
And then like if I, I'll play test around with it a couple times and I'll mess with it. And like if it is something that I think I really like, then I'll put it together in paper. But like
Gotcha.
I do think I really would love Dragon Mage. I put it together in a time when I just recently built a bunch of other mono red like explosive burn decks, and I was like, I don't think I need another one right now. I'm gonna sit on this one for now. We'll maybe come back to that later. We'll see. And I just haven't come back to it yet.
Yeah, I've played against it a few times.
Fair enough.
Piloted by whales. It's fun. Fun deck. It gets
Good.
a lot of, for people that have never played against it or like didn't even know Dragon Mage was a card that existed, people get very threatened by it. So it often becomes like the threat of the table early for reasons, but either way, it's fun. Hey, I know those cards.
I needed a lot of digs. Splitters, insights. I need a lot of vanish.
I'm generally consuming Magic podcasts to probably 2 to 4 different ones a week, and all anyone has been talking about lately is the Ring, the multiplayer Ring mechanic.
I don't feel comfortable talking about it until I know it does.
Yeah, and the way everyone's sort of explaining it is it seems neat. There's not really much of a downside, which seems sort of not like the Ring in the story, but
yeah. Well, I think
it could be fun.
Well, so the reason they came out and said why they didn't give it much downside, they didn't give it much downside because they wanted to play with it. Sure. Mechanics with downsides don't get played with.
Right.
I
mean,
that's one of the things I miss about the 90s.
Yeah. Miss about what?
The 90s.
Oh yeah.
They didn't care.
Let's go back to Urnum Geddon.
Let's do that.
Give me Urnum Jins. Magic with Urnum Jin as the big green stompy thing is just so much more interesting to me than Magic with Tarmogoyf as the big green stompy thing. Tarmogoyf is boring.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, but the ring mechanic to me seems like if you're looking at the flavor of the mechanic in a vacuum of just the emblem, you're gonna think the flavor is awful. But I think if you look at the flavor of the ring mechanic as every card involved, it's great. The ring itself, the emblem, gives you great powers.
Yes.
That's what the emblem does.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But when you follow the story and follow the characters are interacting with the ring in different ways. Some of them give you upsides, some of them give you downsides based on whether or not they're the ring bearer, based on whether or not someone else is the ring bearer, based on how many times the ring has tempted you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the flavor of the ring mechanic is spread across all of the cards. And if you look at just the emblem, it's going to be a fail. But if you look at everything involved with it, it's great.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of where I'm at with it too, because I hadn't really thought about it in that perspective, but I do like that to where, the ring itself, the emblem itself is nothing but step-by-step upside.
Yeah,
but it depends on it makes sense. But then it depends on your ring bearer, whether or not the total outcome is going to be a benefit or a negative or a positive.
Yeah.
So I hadn't really thought about it like that. Oh, you're the PhD. Yeah, Wales loves the Dragon Mage. Yeah, the table usually likes to wheel around, but sometimes they're like, "No, I have the perfect hand. Must kill the Dragon Mage."
Lame.
It is kind of lame. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it, but it happens.
And then I'm over here with Ornithopter tobering out my hand tone too. We are hell bent.
Saw that Ornithopter put in some work.
It did. It put in some great work. But I'm just sitting here like, man, I'm hell bent in turn 3 in a colorless deck. This is not great.
Right? Yeah. I'm often hell bent in decks that I build them specifically not to be hell bent.
Just draw more cards, 5-head.
Oh, I need to write that
so
down.
easy.
Draw more cards. Okay.
Actually, for real, my suggestion is there's a really good Magic podcast called the PDH Pod, where the hosts routinely talk about how to not run out of gas. You should give that a listen.
Oh, I need to write that down too.
Yeah, some good good tips.
Clever
there.
name.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, no, most of it is due to just variance. Like, I'll be in an Is It Spellslinger deck, hellbent for some reason. I don't know what's happening
that's
right now.
no good.
Yeah, I know. The table often asks, cards in hand? I'm like, 0. Still 0. 0 last turn. 0 now. What's that? What is that there? What's that red card?
Which one?
The Chandra? Is that
This
a
one?
Chandra?
It's fancy extended
Hope
out Chandra.
Speaking. There you go. It's pretty.
Hope Speaking, yeah.
That's a mythic.
Yeah.
What are you doing with that garbage?
For a long time, Chandra was like my Magic crush, and I just had all of the Chandra cards. It's not just that I had all the Chandra cards. I had a super fancy version
of all of them.
Of all the Chandra cards. And like now, like my version was always in some way or another. Like it was a pre-release foil, or it was like signed, or like there was some kind of dual deck or planeswalker deck Chandra that was just really ugly. She looked like she had been like very ham-fistedly drawn out of a still frame from like Disney's The Sound of Music or something, and I just hated it.
That's a very specific description.
It seems like it, but like, hold on.
Let me see if I can find it. Just off that description, I'm going to see if I can. There's one from that's Arch Enemy, not Arch Enemy.
Oh gosh, I don't want to say it's Novice Pyromancer, but Pyrogenius, right there, that one.
Can we agree that this card is terrible art?
What?
And like, what you're not seeing on this artwork is that the way they foiled it, her teeth shine, and her goggles shine, and the rest of her face does not shine. It was a mistake.
That is very Disney.
Every
that was a
level.
Really good description.
Right? Like
the pose and everything. Like
it's so aggressively Disney, and I am just not at all here for it.
No, that's sad.
Yeah. So I had this tradition of getting all the Chandras, and I had this. I was like, what am I going to do with this one? And I sent it to a friend of mine who does artwork, and she altered it into. She made it look like one of the those SCG Con like black and white. Hold on a second. I can just grab it.
Yeah, do that. Hey, Liam, Bill, Too Much Dues in the chat. He said, "Do you have the glow, the face with the glow of newly married?" Wink, wink.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Let's find.
Binder time.
Oh, there's my dragon mage. Okay, here we go. This is my Pyrogenius.
So this was a altar. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
That's cool. That's way better.
Yeah, it is a vast improvement.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, this is the Chandra page. I have dual decks, Japanese dual decks, signed by Steve Argyle. This is altered to make it look distressed and ash coated. This is the actual SCG promo. This is altered to make it look like an SCG promo. Pre-release, signed by my friend who used this card to beat me to death with it in the pre-release. I think this one is also some kind. That's not a pre-release. It's just a regular foil.
Yeah.
Japanese alt art pre-release.
Yeah.
Pre-release.
Can't see the bottom 2 rows.
I ran out of Chandras. These are
Okay.
just fire beasts.
Nice. Awesome.
Although this is an alpha fireball and an alpha disintegrate, alpha fire breathing.
This could be the whole
Alpha
show,
flame
just
elemental.
looking at Dave's alpha collection.
This
Dave's
is
old
my
school collection.
binder of cool stuff.
So far, it just looks like a red binder.
It's not all red. These are some of the Japanese cards.
Yeah, I was a big fan of those.
The arena lands up here make a panorama. This is
I've
like
seen
the
that.
blue page.
Not in real life, but I've seen that they do that.
This appears to be the sea monsters and squids page. I don't know if anyone has seen my right arm, but I'm very partial to sea monsters and squids.
Fridge is in the chat.
Hi, Fridge.
Refrigerator.
Some weird misprints. This is the Nicol Bolas page.
Obligatory.
Death Corona page. Some of this is just weird nonsense. Like, we were talking about these textless cards a while back. Day of Judgment, Pyroclasm, Tidings, cancel. Some of these are holdovers from decks that I made. That I took the deck apart, but I wanted to keep some aspect of it together. Dragons. All of this, each of these, Tomb of the Spirit Dragon, Crucible of the Spirit Dragon, something else of the Spirit Dragon. I can't remember, it's in Korean. These are all altered by the same woman who did my Chandra. Her name is Kat Chandler, but I don't think that she does alters anymore.
Really? How come?
She just kind of got burned out on it, I think.
Oh.
She found herself not really enjoying the experience and like not being very interested.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I feel like if you like went to her with like a very compelling idea that like caught her interest, she would be like, yes, we can talk about that commission, but she's not like advertising herself as an altruist anymore, to the best of my knowledge.
Sort of lost the passion for it.
This is an alpha twiddle. This is a deck I put this deck together in like 2004, I think. Whenever Hairstrung Koto came out. When Hairstrung Koto was released, I thought it was the most beautiful Magic card ever made. And so I built a deck that was the Koto was my win condition. A 6-mana artifact that lets you tap it to mill someone 1 card. You can tap a creature to mill someone 1 card.
Worth it.
And I was like, who should play the Koto? A devout harpist, an elvish lyrist, an elvish bard, a musician. Like, it was just these, like, all the stupid musician cards I could find. I put into this deck. This is a 60-card casual kitchen table thing.
Sure.
So I also put in some musical instruments. I had, an elvish lyre. I had a goblin lyre. I put in bone flute because it is an instrument.
Okay.
This deck's only way to survive. It is an instrument.
That is true.
The deck's only way to survive long enough to successfully mill someone out like 3 or 4 cards a turn with Hairstrung Koto was I ran the card Statecraft, which is a old enchantment from Masks that says creatures you control neither deal nor receive combat damage, which by itself makes all of your creatures really good blockers.
Right.
But to make it a little bit more effective, I would donate Statecraft to my opponent.
Oh God.
So that their creatures neither dealt nor received combat damage.
Awesome.
And I was already running a deck. So I found myself in a situation. I had a deck that already included donate and bone flute. And so I felt compelled to add the card Twiddle.
Naturally.
So that I could give someone a bone flute and then I could twiddle my opponent's bone flute in a game of Magic.
Nothing to do with just so you could say that happened.
Yeah, and it did. It happened.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
I did want to. I found our little PDH Pod question bank where we've been putting listener questions.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to get to this one. This is one that I kept wanting to put in show notes, and then our shows would run long, and we didn't get to it. Then I couldn't find a good episode to necessarily fit it in. So we'll just hit it here live on air. What do you think?
Sounds good.
I want that.
All right. This is from @PeacefulZealot on Twitter. I think they've been on the Saturday stream before. What commander, in your opinion, makes the best PDH mill deck?
Ooh,
I
that's a
have
really good
not.
question.
I used to try to make 60 card mill work all the time in Pauper. I have not yet tried to make it work in PDH. I don't think I've
have
really
some
played against it either. Yeah,
but
go for it.
I'm wondering if Liam has any thoughts before I begin ranting.
Is the game plan mill or is the win con?
It must be. I'm thinking win con. When I hear mill deck, I'm thinking that's how you win.
Then I have absolutely no idea. If the game plan was mill, I would say something like Arami or Vohan, where your goal is to dump your deck in the yard.
Right.
Yeah, Araumi is a great choice.
That is
if you
top
want
of the list
if you want
for
to
sure.
do self mill, or even if you want to do other people mill, like
Yeah,
you could pretty easily make an Araumi deck with the ally excavator, Halimar excavator.
The excavator.
Yep.
Love the
Yeah.
excavator.
Like I run the excavator in my Araumi deck because I can target myself when I encore it for 27 cards. But like if you point that at someone else and then somehow untap Araumi and make a second ally, if you encore a second ally, then the second ally is going to mill someone for 81 cards, I think.
Sounds
or maybe
right.
it's
Okay, I'm
maybe
trusting
it's
you on that.
54 more cards for like 81 total.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Yeah. If you can pull that off, you can pretty hard to come back from that.
I hadn't even thought about the excavator with Araumi, because it's always just been like, what, Gary's really good right there, so let's encore Gary. Like I hadn't really thought about doing the allies plan. That's pretty sweet.
Gary's right there.
Yeah, Gary's right there. I mean, come on.
There's some like really cool things you can do with, like, if you can find clever ways to untap Araumi
Mhm.
and trigger her twice, then you can, like, you can encore what is it? Grim Guardian, the enchantment creature with Constellation that drains
Constellation.
everyone 1 when an enchantment hits.
Yep.
I love
If you can do
card.
that and then encore another enchantment creature, that'll get
Yeah.
messy.
Definitely get
yeah.
messy.
There's plenty of mill strategy to be had with Araumi. But I'm gonna tentatively agree with Liam here, where if you want a deck that involves a lot of mill, Araumi's fantastic. If you want mill to be the win con, I'm not sure Araumi is your gal.
Yeah, I'm not sure we actually have a win con mill deck. Maybe. I mean, Turbo Fog, like if you use the Weavers to like make your opponent draw their whole deck, basically.
Yeah.
Guess you could do
That's
that.
more like a combo deck.
But yeah, that's more of a Turbo Fog combo deck. Yeah. Brownie wants to know what that pretty white card is.
This one?
I'm assuming the one on the left. Yes.
Angel of Mercy.
Angel of Mercy.
The portal printing of Angel of Mercy.
Yes. Beautiful old border.
I have won games by milling people. A million years ago, I had a Hedron Crab deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried for a long, long time to make Hedron Crab mill functional. And I ran like all the big mill cards like Dreadwater and all the, I ran Deja Vu so I could put Dreadwater back into my hand. And I was trying so hard to make the mill plan work, and it never won a single game ever.
Really?
When they came out with Ruin Crab, I updated the deck to Ruin Crab, and I also, like, around the same time, I was getting reports from the CPH side of things that, like, a couple people had gotten involved in games that, just because of the aggressively controlish nature of CPDH at that time in that meta, games took like 2.5 hours and went to like turn 27. And I was like,
okay,
man, in that context, I could absolutely mill someone out with Rune Crab if I just had 27 straight turns to go nuts like this.
Yeah.
And so I retooled the deck. Like, I took out all the mill cards like Dreadwater and whatever's that 2 mana target player mills 7 stupefying touch maybe I don't remember. Mind collapse, no idea.
I have no idea.
I took out all the really bad like mill sorceries, and so like it's only a mill deck ostensibly anymore in that it has a rune crab in the command zone, and I do silly things with lands like Scare Tiller and Dreamscape Artist. Like those are the mill
Dreamscape
cards.
Artist. Yep.
And like lots of fetch lands, like Warp Landscape, Terramorphic Expanse.
For sure. Gotta get
Yeah,
those landfall triggers.
That's my mill package. Those things in
Beautiful.
Scare Tiller. That's how I mill.
Beautiful.
But I also with all the space I created by scrapping all the mill cards from the deck, I added a really robust removal suite so that the deck could keep up in competitive games. And I also added High Tide and Ghostly Flicker.
Sure.
So that you can I don't think the deck has ever actually comboed because I've never gone like mana. I've never hit High Tide so many times that I've gone mana positive. But like if you High Tide once and then flicker, an Archaeomancer and an island, the Archaeomancer gets back the Ghostly Flicker. The island triggers the mill 3, and now you can tap it for 2 mana. The Ghostly Flicker only costs 3, so it's not an infinite loop, but it is a loop that you can repeat.
Yeah, like you said, it won't be
mana
positive.
If you have 9 lands, then you High Tide, and now you have 18 mana, and you can mill people 3 cards, 18 times or something. And so I have like stolen games with that deck, which is actually funny because like when I play against something like Tetiova, like Tetiova's combo involves putting a card on top of its library. And so if you're just sitting there with the Terramorphic Expanse in play, like not cracking it, like I'm waiting for your combo, or like
you just wait. It's
sometimes,
coming.
Yeah, sometimes like I watched a Tetiova player hit half of their combo, and I was like, "What's actually happening here? Explain the result of your loop." And he was like, "The result of my loop is I gain a life and I draw a card, but I'm not gaining any mana." And I was like, "Yeah, draw as many cards as you want." And he drew like 30 cards, and I was like, "How many are left? Like 13? Okay, like, let's go. I can mill through 13 cards.
Let's
easy."
do this.
Yeah. So I have stolen games with that deck that I probably don't deserve to have stolen, but I've gotten mill victories that way.
Excellent. I cannot stop thinking about building an Araumi Allies deck now. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Well,
but we only have 12 Dimir allies.
So the thing is, you can build Araumi allies.
I want to. I have to now.
With like you can also add like slivers and changelings. And like other things that will
definitely changelings.
Yeah.
I have to do this now because most of them we have 12 Dimir. Well, I guess 11 blue or black allies, 1 artifact that fits that color identity, and like half of them have ETBs. So that's not bad. Maybe not half of them, but enough of them.
The other half have like tap abilities that
tap
you can
abilities,
use if you encore them.
Tap an untapped ally you control. Target opponent loses 2 life. That one has prowess. Yeah. I'm very interested in this.
Yeah, you could make it.
Minister of Entertainment, welcome to the show. What do you think? You want to do another question?
Yeah.
More of a casual question. This one actually comes from the Sean Lobert himself.
I love that guy.
All right. His question. I know you've said before what you do. I know you've said what you do for work before, Liam, but I was asked. If I was asked, I would have to say it was a quote unquote studenty thing. What do y'all do for work?
I teach. I teach computer science.
Yeah.
I teach mathematics at a high school.
Yep.
I'm a high school math teacher by day. I am a college math teacher by night. And
if you've if you've played against some of the decks Dave has built, you would totally understand that. I can never remember the name of the 40K, the Warhammer Commanders, but the red one.
Noise Marine.
Oh my god! Like, I'm not gonna try to figure that one out. Like, if someone were to give me all of your decks and like, here, you can just play Alcadron's decks, that would be the last one I'd pick. I didn't understand
It's
it.
gonna be the first one I update.
And like, I swear to God, like if it was, I mean, I'm generally trusting at a casual table, but if it would have been like anybody but you, I'd been like, wait, did you do that right? Is your math right there? Like, it has to be an Alcadron deck.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it looked fun. It was fun to lose to, for sure. Great.
I'm gonna update the Noise Marine deck right now.
Go.
What do you do for work, Brad?
Well, unlike the other two, I am not a teacher. I do train some people sometimes, but I work for a utility contractor. We do pretty much inspections on the utility grid for different companies. We inspect their poles, their equipment, their lines, the underground lines, all that sort of good stuff. We do visual inspections. We do intrusive inspections, infrared inspections sometimes. We have a moderately sized engineering department for companies that want that sort of thing, but I think we're in 8 or 9 states now, maybe more than that. It's been quite a bit, but I've been there since September 1st, 2009, and it's just grown since then. Like, I've been there, I guess this will be my 14th year, and I've worked in 17 different departments for the company. So we're just all over the place doing all kinds of stuff for whoever wants to pay us. I mean, we're a contractor, so that's what we do. We're just a contracting company that works in the utility field, mostly for electric companies.
All right.
So currently, I'm a project manager for a small department, small project that started, I guess, about 2 years ago this month, actually. What I've been doing for a while lately. That's it. I've been teaching people lately. I've been training new hires. We finally got some people on board. Trying to bring on a few more here in the next month or so.
So you lied when you said you weren't a teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a lying ass teacher. But yeah, I teach every now and then.
You've already got step 1 down.
Right.
Lying.
Lie.
The lie part.
I was explaining to a friend recently exactly how much of my job involved lying to children. And she was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, no, that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's just lying.
That's the whole gig. That's the whole gig. That's hilarious.
Like, I tell them on day one, I'm like, I lie a lot. I lie about everything. I'm a deeply unreliable narrator. I'm going to try to trick you constantly. And they're like, LOL, okay, you're funny. And like 3 weeks later, they'll be like, you're a gaslighter, Mr. Alcadron. Why are you doing this to us? I'm like, I don't even know what gaslighting means. I think you're making stuff up. Like, you told us you would lie to us. And I'd be like, why would I say that? You're crazy.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I never said anything
I didn't
like
say
that.
anything like that.
It's a good time.
That is hilarious.
I have an inordinate amount of fun just emotionally manipulating 14-year-olds.
I hear bridging.
I do too. Are you bridging new cards? Are you shuffling in new cards to existing decks? What's happening over there?
Did we lose him?
I think we lost Dave.
Sorry. You said I hear bridging and I muted myself because I didn't want to bother. And
Oh,
then
no,
I
it's
to
not.
unmute
It wasn't
myself
like
30
obtrusive. It
seconds
was
later.
just there. Are you, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, is my camera still on?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah. Part of updating the decks is that all my unsleeved decks have a bit of warp to them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I add a new card to it, it's very obvious.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so I have to like I put the new cards in and then I bridge it, half a dozen times so that all the cards are evenly warped.
Evenly bent. Yep.
And then it's updated.
This does seem like an arduous process.
Yeah, there's a lot involved with this. Okay.
Oh, Minister of Entertainment said in the chat, I spent 6 hours in the car Monday, mostly listening to you all.
Nice.
Amazing. Thank you. That means a lot. Appreciate it. That's where all
He
those
also
listens
asks,
came from.
Doesn't that qualify as abuse? Yeah, probably. I mean,
depends on
I'm
who you
not.
ask.
I'm not like lying to them about their identity or anything. I'm just lying to them about how to do problems.
Yeah. So another question. What do you think?
Yeah.
Thought this was an interesting one. So at Mick Dubois, had a few questions from them. Good questions. This one's interesting. Are there any sub games you like to play with certain decks? Example, like you try to go over 100 life when playing Killian or anything like that. Like not necessarily like sub games in a way to win the game, but things you do with your deck to achieve whatever's in your rolling around in your brain there. I feel like I do this, but I never thought about it.
I have one.
What do you got?
I have a shark to crab deck, which
Brilliant.
is just as an idea for a creature. Shark to crab is just endlessly amusing to me, like a shark octopus crab.
Right.
My shark to crab deck includes the cards giant octopus, giant shark, and giant crab. And I've convinced myself that if I ever have all three of them out at the same time, I can sacrifice them to special summon my shark to crab for free from the command zone
without paying its mana cost.
Without paying its mana cost.
I would absolutely allow that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
I would allow that if you had. I would allow it if you had to pay additional costs.
I feel like you're severely underestimating how profoundly awful giant shark, giant crab, and giant octopus are as cards.
I forgot the giant octopus was a card.
It is a 4-mana 3/3 with no abilities. Yep. It is a blue hill giant. And it's the best of the cards.
It's the best of all three.
Well, of course it's the best. That sounds amazing. It's a hill giant in blue.
It is a hill giant.
The most recent, I know I do this, relating to the question, I know I do this quite often. I think the most recent one that comes to mind would be the last time I played Minthara. I tried to get Nested Shambler as big as I possibly could before I Crypt Ratsed or Pestilenced or whatever. I think I got it up to like the experience counters were at 6 or 7. So when it died, and it didn't die to the sweeper either, it died, I forgot what killed it, but I ended up getting like 6 or 7 6/1 squirrels. It was amazing. I still lost. Like I couldn't win the game because they still all had 1-butts, but that's just the little things I try to do with my creatures or, whatever. Silly stuff like that. I never have like a goal. It's more or less just how big can I get this? How much can I drain with Gary? And sometimes it costs me games because I'm like, oh wait, if I just wait till next turn, I can do this. So
yes.
Sometimes it bites me in the butt.
The infamous next turn.
Yeah, the infamous next turn. Next turn will never come. I did actually have I almost tagged you in Discord on Saturday when I was at that Pioneer event, Liam, because I have a judge question for you. Actually, not a judge question, because I was there when the judge answered it, even though I didn't really pay attention too much. I wanted to get your take on it. I had finished my round 2. I won in like 10 minutes because the guy, I won 2-0 because the guy was mana flooded in game 1, mana screwed in game 2. I was just kind of hanging out, watching other games, listening to other people play. And the one guy, they finished this one match was going on. They finished game 1. The guy in question lost. They started game 2 after he shuffled his deck, yada, yada, yada. And he realized that he never unsideboarded from the first round. And he didn't draw a sideboard card in game 1 to realize that was the problem. He didn't notice until like the beginning of game 2. So they called a judge over, and whatever happened. Like, what do you do in that situation? They couldn't just start the match over because they're already one game deep. I think he just got a warning. He was able to take his sideboard cards out, fix it all.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know if that's discovered in game 1. So like it's round 2, sideboard round 1, but it's game 1.
Yeah.
We just sideboard you.
Right.
Which is actually a downgrade from game loss DQ, depending how often it happens.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, and
in game
that's one
2,
of my biggest
I don't know.
fears is doing that. Like, not pulling out all my sideboard cards or something.
I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah.
Game 2, I don't know. I feel like we would just follow as if, because it's a really easy fix if you draw your hand for game 1 and you realize you have sideboard cuts. If we get halfway through game 1 and you draw a sideboard, it's still it's not as easy, but still relatively.
Sure.
I feel like if you draw your opener for game 2 and see sideboard cards, you just treat it the same way as if we were game of game 1, which would be a D sideboard and a warning.
I think that's what it ended up being. They de-sideboarded and it was a warning. Yeah. I know there was a warning for sure. I'm not sure what they did with the deck and the sideboard, but I know he got a warning. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was just something that I haven't seen in a live event ever. I've seen some weird stuff, but
that's a tough one.
I got deck checked like round 1. Got deck checked, so it took like 15 minutes. I've never been deck checked before. Of course, it's been like 10 years since I played a legit like actual event, not just LGS afternoon.
Brad, trying to cheat.
And then, like, in the middle of being deck checked, someone called the judge over, so it ended up being like a 20-minute ordeal. I'm just sitting there doing nothing. But my opponent was nice.
Commander.
Yeah,
no
right.
sideboards needed. I'm just catching up on the chat now. David is Street Sharks. Jawsome.
Jawsome.
So I know Fridge had a dope childhood. It's the Street Sharks reference. 700 life points. That's a lot of life.
That is a lot of life.
Liam sounds like he came home from Ireland with a coke habit. Liam, is there something you need to tell us? We all care about you very much.
We're all here.
I wish I had that habit.
It's hard to afford a coke habit and a magic habit at the same time.
I was going to say, unfortunately, I already have a magic.
Yeah.
Sort of playing off Scooby's question, Liam, have you ever had to do a deck check? And if so, what's like the worst, most annoying deck that you ever had to check?
God. So I have done deck checks.
He wanted to know specifically if you've ever deck checked a Battle of Wits deck.
I have.
Amazing.
Those deck checks are annoying. The most annoying ones to do are your decks. Yorion decks and Lutri decks. Lutri decks are annoying to deck check.
I can see that.
Because there's a bunch of shortcuts that you get taught as a judge when you deck checks, but with the companions, they kind of screw that over because either the decks are bigger or they have a certain stipulation you have to follow, and it just more difficult. The worst deck check I've ever done was actually a fairly standard Izzet deck. It was an Izzet modern deck. It wasn't Phoenix, but it spells, right? The blue-red Strixhaven spell was definitely legal. That was out at the time. And this tournament was taking place the week after Simeon's Spirit Guide had gotten banned.
Okay.
And one of the players they just brought the old modern deck. They figured, there's nothing like terribly powerful. I mean, old modern deck.
Yeah.
It was,
why would they ever ban
new
these cards?
Like, yeah, but they were like, like Phoenix isn't in the deck. I'm sure the deck is legal. It's brought it, right? And they hadn't played modern in like 4 or 5 months because they were at school and there was a summer tournament, so they brought their deck. Simeon Spirit Guide. I missed the Spirit Guide during deck check. Like, they were randomly picked. We did deck check. Like, I looked at it. The head judge, like, yeah, your deck check looks good. You give back to the player. Give the player. 20 minutes later, judge, my opponent's playing with banned cards.
Oh no!
And I walk over to the table and I'm like I just go pale white because I'm like, I checked this deck. What did I miss? And then the opponent was like, the playing with Simeon Spirit Guide, it's banned. And I was like, oh my God, it is.
It certainly is. Yeah.
And I'm like, that certainly is a banned card.
I was just making sure you guys caught it.
Yeah, I was just
self-policing.
Yeah, that was an interesting call. They didn't want me to make a judge call. They wanted the head judge over because they knew me. I did the deck check, so they didn't want me making that call. Which, in fairness, I don't blame them.
Sure.
But also, in fairness, modern is not my form of choice.
Also fair. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an awful one.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's time for Muddle the Mixture to come out of Gilderbairn.
Uh-oh. How come? Or maybe it's not just...
It's in there to tutor for a combo line, and I don't want the deck to be a combo deck. I want it to be a thing where, like, if I stumble into the combo, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. I can do a thing.
Hey,
like,
look what I can do.
Looking for it. Yeah.
Oh, Minister of Entertainment says his next their next PDH deck is going to be Mr. Orfeo. I love Orfeo.
Orfeo's high quality.
I loved it when it came out, but it's slowly becoming one of my favorites. I'm a huge fan of Jund. Just big Jund piles that are just value and removal and, Boomer Jund, as they call it.
Boomer Jund.
My favorite. Jund. Yeah, Orfeo is a banger for sure.
Orfeo really likes the big black what is it? Backup to Swamp Cycling Menace guy. That's got to be good for Orfeo, right?
I would think so. Let me look at it again. I have not updated my Orfeo deck. I think since we got maybe Brothers War, but yeah, I definitely haven't updated it since we got the duels and Dominaria United. But it doesn't even have any 1 cards, yeah.
That's like almost a year, Brad. What are you doing?
It is almost a year. It's crazy. Swamp Cycling back up to 7 mana 5/5. Nightmare. I gotta put it in there. It's a nightmare. I didn't realize it was a nightmare. That's like my favorite creature type. Nightmare. Nightmare and beasts and horrors. Horrors are excellent creature types.
For sure.
Do we have any horror commanders?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I know we have Jinrova horror.
For sure.
Yeah, we got 84 of them. We can do Abomination.
We have 84. Yeah, okay.
84 horrors. Yeah, there's Abomination of Llanowar, Stitchwing, Canker Abomination, yada yada yada, on and on.
Are there any pals in the chat?
Fantastic.
Are there any pals watching or in the chat?
Sniff was in here earlier, but he said his volume was off. So.
But are they still there?
They haven't chatted in a while. If they are. Let's see if I can tag him. Enforcer from Mercadian Mask is a horror. Oh, it's been errated to be a horror. Kataran, is that how you say it? Kataran?
I always said Kataran.
Kataran Enforcer.
I don't know if that's correct.
Sounds good to me.
But hopefully there are no pals in chat.
Nope,
so
I don't think so.
This thing I've been working on while I've been sitting here, I've had on my desk for months. I really need to finish it. So this is, yeah, I'm just gonna show it. It's completely unfinished, but
oh my god, that's
amazing. Let me get some light on it.
The Trinity Panorama.
Amazing.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. No one tell them. It's supposed to be a surprise.
Or it's a little miniature DM screen. Love it.
Oh my goodness. I guess. All right.
I guess, Dave, I always get confused between your Gilderbairn deck and your Mist Meadow deck. Mist Meadow is a combo deck, right? Like that's just
right.
It's just a combo. Like it's not just a combo deck, but you know what I mean. Like that you are actively playing a combo deck, not like you were just saying where if you fall into it, woohoo.
Mist Meadow doesn't run any combos actually.
Really, I thought it did.
My Mist Meadow list is just control.
I feel like we were talking about it. Maybe it was just the lines of play.
It could be.
Yeah.
My
like
Mist Meadow list
flicker
is
shenanigans and stuff going on.
Honestly kind of weird. Yeah, it's just exclusively flicker shenanigans. Yeah, that's the whole deck.
Maybe that's what got it in my head. It was combo because of the flickering stuff.
Yeah, my mist meta lines. I tried to. I mean, a lot of it is just flickering things for value. You know, like you can flicker Mold Drifter, you can flicker the whatever the thing that makes two birds, the evoke thing that
The Soul of Migration.
Soul of Migration. Yeah, you can flicker those just for value with Olga.
Yep.
I decided that I wanted to also do a lot of like weird cheeky nonsense with my Olga list. So I tried to add a bunch of really bizarre lines that tried to like really capitalize on like the O-ring glitch and the Journey to Nowhere glitch.
That's
so like
I think that's what it was. I think that's what we were talking about. Yep.
Yeah, like I'm gonna try to play an O-ring and then bounce it back to my hand with its trigger on the stack, so that its leaves the battlefield trigger goes on the stack above its enters trigger, and the leaves returns nothing because nothing has been exiled, and then the enters resolves and just exiles something permanent. So like I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to do weird things with Weight of Conscience is another one where I can put its ability on the stack and then bounce it to my hand. So that the creature gets exiled and I can pacifism something else. It also does a lot of really like the thing that Olka does better than any other flicker deck is I can just bring it up here. Olka, where are you? Nope. Control F for Olka. Okay. Olka lets you pay 4 mana to exile a creature and return it to the battlefield under owner's control at the end of turn.
Right.
Which pairs really well with this guy.
Oh yeah, the processor.
Yeah. Oracle of Dust.
Oracle of Dust
is a 5 mana 3/5 that lets you. It has an ability for 2 mana. Put a card an opponent owns from exile into that player's graveyard. Draw a card, then discard a card. So you can, like with Olka, you can flicker your opponent's creature, and for 4 mana, and then for 2 more mana, you just move it to the graveyard,
right,
and then loot, and they don't get it back. It's
they
just
don't get it back. That's the best part of
super dead.
Yeah.
Which I think it's very silly.
That is silly.
Yeah. So my Olka deck is just nothing but cheeky shenanigans all the way down. And my Gilderbairn deck is just a lot of like thick nonsense. Like I'm gonna try to get, Battering Krasis or some kind of Ivy Elemental. Just all I need is a creature with a few counters on it. And then I'll put something on Gilderbairn that lets him tap many times. Like ideally something that lets him tap for mana, like Karametra's Favor.
Right.
And then it'll just double the number of counters on my thing like 6 times. Because 2 to the 6th is 64. So, like at minimum, if it had 1 counter, now it has 64 counters. And then I'll attack with that.
That might get the job done. Yeah.
Probably gets the job done. The combo in it uses Pentad Prism, which is a Gilderbairn. Let's just bring it up on my computer. I don't have to.
The Sunburst artifact, right?
It is.
Good old Sunburst. This is not an evil time stream alk fridge.
Pentad Prism.
Yep.
2 mana Sunburst artifact comes into play with charge counters equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast it. So since it costs 2 mana, you play it for 1 blue and 1 green. It comes in with 2 charge counters on it. It lets you remove a charge counter to add 1 mana of any color.
Right.
So if you play it with 2 charge counters, you spend 3 other mana with the Gilderbairn to double it up to 4.
Right.
And then you spend 3 more mana with the Gilderbairn to double it again up to 8. And now that it's at 8, you can pull 3 mana off of it to double it with Gilderbairn, and it goes to 10.
Yeah, because it doesn't say tap and remove charge counter.
Right.
You just
It's
dump
just
them all if you
remove.
want it. Yep.
So if you have the mana to double it twice, without taking any off of it, you double it from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8,
Right.
and then as long as you have like any tap outlet on Gilded Baron is like infinite anything. Like if you've got Presence of Gond, you can make infinite
gross.
elves.
Yeah.
If you've got a Viridian Longbow, it's infinite pings. If you've got a Banishing Knack, it's infinite bounce. And infinite mana.
Like I never
And
would have. Oh, go ahead. Finish up.
infinite mana and infinite doubling whatever other counters you have.
Wild. Like I never would have come across a line like that. Is that something you discovered, you built, or is it like
Gilded
not
Baron
the
was
deck,
my
but like that specific interaction, like Gilded Baron and Pentad Prism?
Yeah, Gilded Baron was my first ever combo, or my first ever PDH deck.
Mhm.
And I wanted to put Pentad Prism in it because I just thought the Pentad Prism was a good card. And I was like, oh, wait a second, this goes infinite. And this was in 2013, so it was before Peregrine Drake got downshifted.
Yep.
And I was so unreasonably proud of myself for having found an infinite combo in 2013 PDH.
That is so crazy. Like I never would have came across that.
It's pretty fun.
It's super impressive.
Thank you.
That's what Too Much Do just said in the chat too. Kills me how encyclopedic your knowledge of PDH cards is. Crazy. It is. It's really good. Like
I try.
I honestly like I feel like I know a lot of cards. I feel like most of us that play Magic on the regular know a lot of cards, but I don't know the last time, if ever, that Alk has had to look up a card on air during the show, anything like that. Like I'm over here kind of like trying to type quiet, looking up cards as we're talking. Like, okay, like I think I know what it is, and then I see it. I'm like, okay, that's what it was. I didn't want to misspeak or whatever. You're just like, bam, yeah, I know that one.
I'm pretty good with comments. I had to look up the name of that ugly Disney Chandra.
Yeah.
I could describe the picture pretty well, though.
It was perfect. Like you could totally pick it out of a lineup with just that description. It was awesome. I first started looking for a dual deck set symbol though, because I think you said it was from a dual deck or something.
Yeah, I think it's from a dual deck. I'm not actually sure.
I think it was
it's from a Planeswalker deck
or something.
Planeswalker deck. That was one of the
Planeswalker deck. Okay.
This is still our signal.
A little crunchy. There was Scooby actually threw something in the old suggestion box of the patron channel there in the old Discord. If you wanna get to that one, what do you think?
Oh, what?
Scooby had a question. He posted it in the suggestion box of the PDH Pod Discord server.
Yeah, hit me with it.
I think this is more of a I'll just read it. We'll see what we come up with. He says, after Brad's Pioneer event, it brought up some memories of heated discussions in constructed games in the past. I don't know if it is a full episode or more of a listener question, but is it luck or skill or a hybrid? Kind of like when you top deck an answer. Is it luck that you hit it, or is it skill because you run 3 of those similar effects that you needed to hit right when you needed to hit them?
That's a really good question.
Now, I think, to me, that falls in the whole philosophy of play to your outs, correct?
Seems reasonable. Yes, I think it's about playing to your outs. I think one of the reasons this question is so fascinating to me personally is that I have recently done kind of an about face on my stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not playing PDH, I play a lot of Cube with my boyfriend Blake, and
what type of cube?
He has a cube that is significantly smarter than both of us. Like his knowledge of cards in the game and the rules is about similar to mine. And he has a cube where every time you make a decision, it's probably the wrong decision because the cube is just so much more intelligent than the two of us put together are, and it's always a learning experience. Like we're always playing this cube and being like, oh, we should have done that. Like, yeah, we've been outwitted again by how complex this cube is. And
was that
no,
the
I used to.
intent of the cube?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The intent of the cube is to make your brain hurt.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah. It's successful.
Sounds like
Extremely successful. What?
Sounds like it's fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so he has this cube and like he designs it and he, tinkers with it all the time. I have a cube that's just about making deliberately bad decisions. Like my cube is all conspiracy and like commander cards that make goofy things happen in multiplayer.
Right.
It's a really stupid cube. It's really fun if everyone involved is very drunk. His cube is about making the wrong decisions accidentally. Don't know any better. But like I've had this experience playing against him frequently where like he would create this deck that would create a situation in a game that I was like, oh, this is impossible for me to get out of. Like there's only 2 cards in my deck that can answer this.
Right.
And then I would just draw them. And I would be like, oh man, like I'm really sorry. Or it would be the reverse. Like I would create the situation where I was like, yeah, I got him now. Like
there ain't no way he's gonna get the answer. Yep.
There's the only card that gets him out of this situation is like Apocalypse. And then he was just like, oh hey, I top decked Apocalypse.
Hey,
and I'd be like, what the hell, man? And like I would get really angry. And he would be like, this is on purpose, man. Like it's not an accident that I top decked an answer. Like I put this in here because I know your threats. Like
right.
This is deliberate. And I was like, but 1 card out of 40. And he was like, well, it's 1 card out of, it's 1 card out of 40, but like I've already drawn 15 cards this game. So like 1 out of 25.
15 cards, and like, there's permanents on the battlefield, stuff in the graveyard. Yeah.
Right. And like, of the 15 cards I've drawn, like 3 of them were Ponder, Opt, and Preordained. So like I've seen 8 more cards on the bottom. Like you can't be mad at me for hitting this. Like I've seen over half my deck. Like odds are better that I found this card by this point than they are that I haven't. And I was like, oh, you're like, I'm mad that you drew it this turn right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I guess you're right. If you had seen this card at any point in the last 15 minutes worth of game, it would have been in your hand anyway. And like it's perfectly reasonable to expect you to have seen it in this first 15 minutes of game. So it used to be something that I would get like irritated about, like, no, you top decked the answer, that's not fair, I lost because of luck. And it's like, no, I never lost because of luck. I lost because Blake is a brilliant deck builder and makes wise decisions.
I think that's the whole sort of philosophy behind constructed formats, specifically like 60 card constructed formats is, it's that, and I think that's a lot of the draw to like control decks or tempo decks, is that you get to sculpt your hand. You can sculpt the top of your deck. You can sculpt your library to a certain extent, and that's sort of the draw behind it, is because you're in control of what's going on. You're not foregoing the battle state or the game itself to worry about your library and worry about your hand. You're able to do sort of it all at the same time, and I think that's where like they always talk about the rule of 8 in 60 card constructed formats. Like if there's an effect you have in your deck and you need to see that as often as possible, find as many of those cards as you can, like 4 Land of War Elves and 4 Elvish Mystics. The rule of 8 right there. If you need 4 lightning bolts, you got, or if you need 8 lightning bolts, you got 4 bolts and 4 Skewer the Critics or Rift Bolt or what have you. Like there's a certain amount of deck building skill that goes into that. It's not like, oh, this is my win con, so I'm going to put 1 of them in there. You may have to put 4 of them in there. So it comes down to skill. But if it weren't for the variance and the luck, if you will, I think Magic would have died out 22 years ago.
I agree.
I think it's the variance and the randomness of it that keeps us going, because it is unpredictable at times. And that's kind of the fun of it. It's frustrating, but I think the skill comes in the deck building side of it, and then to a certain extent, the luck comes in when you draw a card at random. Basically, you're just top decking a card at that point. But that's where I went to first, is that whole playing to your outs thing, like knowing what's in your deck, what can take care of the situation that you're facing, and you're hoping you draw into it somehow, or find it, or dig for it, or tutor it, or whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
I think it's a little mix of both. I don't have the super deck building skill, so I just try to swarm the board with creatures and combat tricks and craziness.
I think behind that argument in a lot of formats, a lot of people think they're better decks than they actually are.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And I will be the first to admit that I suck.
That's extremely real.
Yep. Yeah, it's like I totally got. I mean, I lost that Pioneer event. Like I dropped after I went 1-2 drop because there was 30 of us there. You had to win at least three rounds to even make it top 8 or whatever. So I dropped after my third match, but like I lost round 1 to a combo deck, which is fine. The Pioneer's got a ton of combo decks in them. I lost round 3 to a combo deck, but game 1 of round 3, I ended up just scooping game 1 because I mulled to 4. I'm like, I'm not even gonna try. Like, I don't know what you're playing. There's likely no way I can come back from this. And knowing the speed of the format itself, I'm like, nope, let's go to game 2. He's like, what? You're gonna scoop? I'm like, there's no way, man. Just no way that I can come back from 4. I mean, granted, it's a low to the ground mono blue tempo deck, but even still, that's rough. Like you got to have a certain opening hand to be able to function.
Being 3 cards behind your opponent is not
100%.
a good place to come.
Yeah, 100%.
Not where you want to be in a format that's fast.
Yeah, but maybe they didn't understand either, because even in game 3 when I lost that match or lost that round, I guess too. He searched his deck. He was on the Lotus Field combo. He searched his deck for a Languish. All creatures or whatever, -4/-4 to opponent's creatures or all creatures or something. And I scooped.
All creatures.
And he's like, oh, you're scooping? I'm like, you just wiped out my entire board. Like I spent 7 turns building 6 creatures up. I got you down to 1 life, literally, and you just wiped them all out. So, you're just in this Lotus Field combo. So by the time he cast Languish, he still had like 17 mana in the bank. Like, like, all right, I think I'm done here. Let's move along. Let's just go. Yeah, it's
17 mana in the bank.
It's a crazy deck. It plays all like the untappers and I don't know. I don't know all the cards, name of the cards, because I don't play Pioneer much. But yeah, it's just shenanigan ways to keep untapping Lotus Field to get manas, lots of manas. But no, I started that whole spiel because on round 2, I took that round 2-0. Granted, he was mana flooded and then mana screwed, but it made me feel like a champion because the deck I didn't build the deck, I didn't brew the deck. It's literally just, here's mono blue spirits, here's the deck that shows up in the meta all the time. 5-0, 5-0 leagues, shows up in the challenges, all that stuff, but it played out exactly how it's supposed to play out. I think even if they would have played on curve, I would have won both of those games because of how well it played. Like it hit everything on curve. Smack, 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 attack, and you're dead in 4 or 5 turns. Like, it's just how it is. And I felt amazing. The deck made me feel smart when all I was really doing was just playing the cards that were in my hand, like on time, on curve, and attacking when I should have. So, and I don't know where mono blue spirits started, but whoever did, it's that same philosophy. It's as many versions of the same effect you can cram into one deck and just lay them down, go to town. So, but that was sort of a long way of saying, yeah, I think the deck part comes with skill or comes from skill, and the rest is just sort of variance and how much you can actually affect your hand and your library in the process.
I'm prepared to believe that.
Yeah. Which is one reason I love PDH so much, because we just don't have a ton of tutors. That's amazing. I love that. We got a couple, and they will go get some very strong cards, but
they're all right.
Yeah, they all right.
Here's the last step of the deck updates. With each of my deck boxes, I have these clear things.
Mm-hmm.
I keep inside of the deck box, like on the side, a little pile of sideboard cards in a little penny sleeve that can hold 10 or 15 cards or whatever. This is where I keep all the cards that move into the considering Because if I change my mind and I want to put these back in the deck, I want them to be handy.
Oh,
This is the actual like sideboard in case I decide to mess with things.
yeah, that's smart. Smart.
On the sleeve of each of these, I keep a sticky note that I can see through the side of the box, which will on the sticky note I write down whatever cards I'm missing. So if there's a card I want to add to the deck that I don't have on hand, like the most recent one was Chains of Custody. I wrote down Chains of Custody because that should have been in the deck but wasn't. I just didn't have a copy. And then I also write down when it was last updated.
Okay, so those are cards that you like in that particular penny sleeve right there. Those are cards you have not put in the deck yet, or they're cards you took out for other cards, or both, I guess.
Excuse me. Should have muted myself. Some of these used to be in the deck and then have come out. These are the cards. These are the 3 cards I just took out of Nordica. Angelic Purge, chosen by Heliod, and Faith's Fetters.
Okay.
These are coming out for Planar Disruption, Scroll Shift, and Vanish into Eternity. Some of the cards were never in the deck, like Repel the Vile. I want this card.
Brownie was just asking about that one.
2 less mana.
Like
I cannot justify it at 4 mana, but I love the artwork unreasonably. I love
really cool
that it's from Norika's set and it feels vaguely kind of Norika-ish.
It does.
Like it looks like something that Norika would be doing. So like this one I just kind of keep nearby because I like it aesthetically, but it's never been in the deck.
Sure. No, it is a very, very nice card to look at.
Yeah. I think I have an art card of that one, and it's one of my favorites. Talk to me about Vanish into Eternity over Angelic Purge. Sometimes you want the sacrifice outlet, and then Angelic Purge is really good. Sometimes what you really want is the instant speed, and that's the big difference between Vanish over Purge is, instant speed is enormous, and Purge is just at sorcery speed. Purge leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it really does.
I originally had Purge in here because I thought I really wanted like the sack outlet. Like I thought I wanted to be casting like Chosen by Heliod for the card draw, and then I wanted to sacrifice Chosen by Heliod to Angelic Purge so that I could cast Chosen by Heliod from my graveyard using Norika. Like that was my vision for it. But like in practice, I just always have better things to do with my cards than sacrifice a bad draw aura to a bad removal spell so that I can cast it a second time. So like, yeah, I think this deck wants Vanish a lot more than it wants Purge. Because I mean, like honestly, like this deck's not super worried about creatures. This deck is super worried about Honored Heirloom. And being able to murk an heirloom at instant speed for 3 mana and not sacrificing something is much, much more important to me than murking it at sorcery speed for 3 mana while sacrificing something.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Scooby says I need to do that sticky note thing so I can keep track of where things are getting swapped around. Yeah, I do too. I'm really bad about using the blank tokens that they've been printing for a couple of years, and I'll write down, like, if I just did it recently, I need to put a Nature's Lore in my Woodvine deck, so I pulled a Nature's Lore out of Orfeo, and I just filled out one of the blank tokens and put it in Orfeo, and I know next time I go to play Orfeo, I'm going to shuffle up, and I'm going to draw it, I'm going to be like, shit, I forgot to put it back in the deck, or I forgot to find one to put in here. So I need to keep, like, some sort of tally or list somewhere that tells me that all is not right in the deck.
I realized that I've been neglecting chat.
It's okay.
I'm only just realizing that it was Too Much Do who was talking about the encyclopedic knowledge a while back. Yeah, I've been playing the game for a while. And like very consistently as well. Like I know a lot of people who started around when I did and then they took a break from the game for like 10 years. I've been playing nonstop.
Yeah.
Constant, very engaged in the game for almost 30 years now. So
yeah, that
also
definitely helps.
It was great to play with you on Monday. I enjoyed those games a lot.
Yeah, Do is good to play with.
I hope to do that again soon.
Hope to do that again.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Yeah, that's what I do. I did want to ask you something, Dave. I brought this conversation up on Twitter earlier. When and where and how and why
Yeah.
do you play the diamonds? Sky Diamond, Moss Diamond, etc., etc., etc. Or do you? Like, do you personally?
That's
I brought it up because
so
Bridge and I were talking about the diamonds in the Woodvine Elemental deck, and I told him, yeah, I usually start with those. Like in almost every deck I build, I start with a diamond or two, but inevitably I end up taking them out because they're just never as good as I think they're gonna be.
that is, I think, my experience overwhelmingly. I love the idea of the diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be in decks a lot more often than they are. So like I put them into the design for decks a lot, and then when it comes to actually playing those decks, I'm like when it comes time to cuts, I'm looking at the diamonds alongside, Fellwar Stone and Arcane Signet, and I'm like, why am
Yes.
I running the ET
Yeah.
tapped rock? So like I think
just
the last
really
time I
want them
put
to
one
be
into a
good for
deck,
some reason.
yeah.
Like for no real reason. Like we have very good mana rocks. Something
No, I
about
mean
the
like
diamonds I really enjoy.
there's reasons. Like I'm very nostalgic for like the Mirage art for
Yeah.
on all those
Mm-hmm.
diamonds. Like I want that to be like a part of what I'm doing. But like most recently I put Charcoal Diamond into Triarch Praetorian. Because it's mono black, I kind of, mono black with an artifact theme that's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be
You
very
got
mana
cranial
intensive.
plating, so
Like,
it all comes out. Yep, in the wash,
you got
as they
cranial
say.
plating, and like you want to have turns in which you are spending 5 mana to unearth your 2 power creature, and spending 3 mana to suit him up with a bone splitter and a cranial plate or whatever,
Right.
and still doing other things with the 2 cards you draw off of the thing. So like it's a very very mana hungry deck, and I was like, yeah, I want like 13 rocks, easy. And so like the Charcoal Diamond was one of them, and I was very happy with it. And then I realized that I wasn't running Mind Stone, and there's a very specific art of Mind Stone that is just a Necron skull. And I was like, okay,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I have to cut something for Mind Stone now. And I saw the diamond, and I was like,
Guess what
sorry,
it's
bud.
gonna be.
You had a good run, friend.
Yep.
I hope you enjoyed this 2-week stint as being in the deck.
Yeah. I think that's where
I think
most people play them are in monocolored decks. I don't know. I really enjoy them for some reason. They're just never like every time one is in my hand, I'm like, oh, sure wish I had mana right now and not ETB tapped, or
yeah.
when it's on the battlefield, it just doesn't feel good. I don't know. The whole thing.
Yeah. Skagwater says, hello, you gorgeous creatures. Hello, Skagwater.
Hello, you gorgeous person. Yeah.
I think I found.
Yep.
Hello.
Go ahead.
I was going to read Scooby's.
I was also going to read Scooby's. I think I found I like diamonds in more control decks. I, along with other people, tend to look across the table and just check for untapped lands, ignoring the diamonds and the chalice. Okay. Oh, look at that PDH Pod
I know, the
koozie.
koozie.
Blowing my mind over
That
here.
is beautiful. Amazing.
I like the diamonds because Liam was telling everyone to play them like a based.
Diamonds are good. Just saying.
Based.
Yeah, I mean,
Chad.
I love the idea of telling people to play them. In practice, they end up in like shockingly few of my decks, which I do feel kind of bad about.
Nah, diamonds are great.
I'll say I had diamonds in a lot more decks when Arcane Signet was like a $4 card.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
So like now that we have Arcane Signets everywhere, I'm like, do I need that?
What are we doing with all these diamonds? We got Mirage diamonds and alternate art diamonds and foil diamonds and different sets and printings, and they're so pretty.
They're so pretty. Okay, we're done. We finished Nordica? No, I need to do the thing. We move these 3 out of the deck.
You know what would fix diamonds? Is if they downshifted Amulet of Vigor. That's all I'm saying.
Would that even work? I thought that
You don't
the
need to
amulet
fix
was only
diamonds. They're already
land.
perfect.
When a permanent enters the battlefield,
Yeah.
taps and under your control, untap it.
Oh, it's permanent. Wow, I don't
Yeah.
even know what amulet of vigor does.
Yep, it's a 1-mana artifact. That's all it says. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield tapped under your control, untap it. They run it in like Primeval Titan decks prime time to where like the bounce lands come in untapped and yada
Oh,
yada.
gross.
Yeah, it's super gross. I thought about doing a Rule 0 PDH pod where just the table started with an Amulet of Vigor like effect for everyone.
That seems
Nice.
broken.
That seems a little busted, yeah. Make Diamonds the PDH Soul Ring 2023.
No, PDH Soul Ring is Sisei's ring.
Yep.
It's even got ring in the name.
It's even got ring in the name. Another, that was Mirage, right? Wasn't it?
It's Visions.
Visions. I get those two up.
I just happened to find it in my deck as you said that. Where is the thing? Did I miss it?
And then Chalice too. I actually need to. I might as well just place an order for some Everflowing Chalices because they're never at the shop. It's one of those cards. I was at the shop today picking up pieces for the Woodvine deck, and I was going through their dollar and up box looking for Nature's Lore, 3 visits, whatever. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, well, they never have those because they're too inexpensive to trade in because the shop's not going to give you a lot for them because they're everywhere. But they're too good to really want to get rid of when you just trade in your bulk for store credit or whatever. So they never have any extras on hand, and
that checks out.
Yeah, it totally checks out. So I forget where I was going with that, but yeah, it made me think about Everflowing Chalice. They never have one in stock ever, so I'm just gonna have to place an order for some because it's really good. I only have 2 or 3 actual copies of it, and I have like a proxy copy and a deck and like the new Tor Wauki deck.
Thank you.
And they're awesome. I have one in a Proliferate deck, and they're great. I don't have enough of them, so I need to up my Chalice inventory, I think.
Yeah. Liam, Too Much Do in the chat says, somebody reportedly has put together a Dan format deck, except based on Yargle for MagicCon Minneapolis. I'm trying to track down the info. Also, he's walking into Home Depot. He's going to lose us.
Enjoy shopping, do. Dan for Yargle.
I've realized the cards that I need to put into this Araumi deck are not among the cards that I just bought. They're the cards that are in my collection. So I'm going to have to put my headphones off for just a second to acquire those cards.
Yes, absolutely.
Well.
Don't forget the important thing that you said you would definitely remember. That's right. How it goes. Which version of Chalice art were you aiming for? I don't think I have a preference for Chalice art. Really, just any of them. The ones I own, I think I have one from just having one from forever. And then the other ones that I have, I had to purchase through ECG Player, I think last year, about 6 months ago, maybe. And then I just optimized the cart because I had a bunch of stuff in there. So whatever version they sent me are the ones I own. Oh, no preference there really. I lost my browser. Oh, there we go. There are some sweet arts. Like there's the F&M 2011 Friday Night Magic promo. That is sweet. I mean, it's $13, but it's sweet. Beautiful. But overall, it's just a really cool card. There's a Time Spiral remastered version. Yeah, and it's one of those, too, that I had no reason to pay attention to it until I got into Pauper Commander. And then I'm like, holy crap, this card exists. I think I looked at it once for a 60-card Pauper deck, but I guess you could play it in Tron for reasons, but I don't know why you would do that. Yeah, it's just really cool, and it's really, like, I don't know. It's handy to have a third Sisei's Ring or Golem's Eye or what have you. Yeah, I do too, Wales. I love the old border stuff. I just bought a bunch of Commander Spheres, and they're all the old border stuff that they just printed. Old border ones. I'm a huge fan of the old border. Old border and white border are my favorites.
I just got a couple of the Warhammer art Everflowing Chalices.
Yeah, I was just looking at those. Pretty sweet.
Mostly for the Warhammer decks. Like as a follow up to the Derek's Bling episode from last week, I want to mention that the Warhammer decks, like making a cycle of Warhammer Commander decks, has given me the opportunity to just stuff them with as many Warhammer cards as possible. So like
Sure.
Warhammer Basic Lands, Warhammer Everflowing Chalices, Mind Stones, Arcane Signets, Command Towers, Opal Palaces.
Yeah, and the chalices are rare in those decks too. Huh.
Yeah, but they're still super cheap.
Oh,
People
yeah,
are
yeah.
Parting with them very easily.
Just kind of cool to see them in gold, the gold symbol on them. Yeah, there's very few cards that I specifically go for, or that I go for specific printings of. Chalice wouldn't be one of them. They're cool, but it's not a. I usually go for interesting or specific printings of cards if it's going to go in almost every deck I have. Like Commander Sphere, I wanted the old border ones because I'm going to see that in every deck that I play. Whereas Chalice, I'll probably see that in like 6 or 8 decks that I play. So, et cetera. Which, where's our foil Bonder's Ornament? Or they could put it in a secret lair. Throw Bonder's Ornament in a secret lair. I'd be okay with that. I'm tired of looking at the same one over and over.
I would buy a foil Bonder's Ornament.
Yeah.
Just one. I try to do that, but after the customizing your deck, I realize I'm just going to get cards to build it, play with it, and if I love it, slowly bling it out. Unless, like Brad said, if CK offers a foil for the price, I will just pick that up. It seems like a good plan, Scooby. And Whale says he always goes for the old frame. That's correct.
That is correct. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
What am I doing to fear ya? Oh, no. First, I am, of course. I keep on, like, finishing these actual card swaps and then, like, trying to move away from the Moxfield list before I fix the Moxfield.
I wanted to ask you something from a callback from like an hour ago. We were talking about Araumi and allies.
Araumi?
And changelings. Did you mention slivers because of the changelings, or
there's a couple slivers that you can do really cool things with?
That totally I meant to ask you about that when we were talking about it, and it just slipped my mind.
Well, I'm on the Araumi list right now. So
right, that's what made me think of it. Actually,
let's just look at slivers. Frenzy 1 stacks really well, so like you could get a really big attack in with this guy if you want to do that. Mind Lash Sliver is a good thing, and then just force everyone to discard a lot. This is the sliver that I have in my Araumi list. Slivers have, when this enters the battlefield, you may Fate Seal 1.
Yeah, the mesmeric sliver. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you encore 3 copies of these, you get to Fate Seal 1 9 times.
For those not familiar, Fate Seal is its controller looks at the top card. Yeah, go ahead.
Fate Seal is scry for your opponents.
Yes.
You scry the top card of your opponent's deck, and then you choose whether they put it on the bottom or leave it on top.
Shadow Sliver is probably my favorite sliver art of all time.
It's a good one. It's not great with Araumi. Giving your slivers shadow 3 times doesn't really help much.
Yeah, that doesn't really push your game plan forward much at all.
Yeah. I think Mesmeric is the only one that like does really cool things with Encore.
Sure.
Because you can just, once again, like if you encore the Mesmeric Sliver and then you encore like an ally, or not an ally, a changeling, you get more. You get like 9 more Fate Seal triggers.
Yeah. And then the Mind Lash, like
which,
you were saying, is pretty cool too. I mean, it takes some investment. You got to have the mana open, but yeah, you could rip everybody's cards out of their hands.
Yeah, it's probably not better than like Burglar Rat or Nezumi Informant or Virus Beetle, but it's if you want your Arumi deck to have a tribal component, this is a good way to get there.
After today, I definitely do.
It
never occurred to me for some reason.
The other tribal thing you can go really hard on, zombies.
Okay.
Shepherd of Rot taps to make each player lose a life for each zombie in play. So
Mhm.
if this is the only thing you encore and it's your only zombie, you can tap 3 of them for 3 life each to make everyone lose 9 life.
That's gross.
If you encore Shepherd of Rot and then Vengeful Dead, like this is one of the things where like if you can engineer a situation where you encore 2 things in the same turn by untapping Arumi, like Vengeful Dead says whenever it or another zombie is put into a graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life.
Mhm.
So 3, if you can Vengeful Dead and Shepherd, each of your 3 shepherds can tap to make everyone lose 6 life.
Oof.
And then you can stack the end step triggers so that all 3 shepherds die and do 9 life drain to each opponent Vengeful Dead, and then all 3 Vengeful Deads die and do 9 more. So that's you can do 36 damage to all of your opponents with a Shepherd of Rot and a Vengeful Dead.
Oof.
See, that is
and like
crazy to me. That's so cool.
You also take 18 from the shepherds, but like hopefully, if you can, you know who's a zombie? Gary.
Gary is certainly a very good zombie. Very good zombie.
Gary sure is a zombie. So like you can
sure is a zombie.
You can pad your own life total a little bit with other things.
Yeah. Looking at a couple zombies, zombie decks, zombie commanders. I can't remember their name now. One of them was like $8 or $10. It was War Chief? Is that one? Zombie War Chief?
War Chief, yeah. War Chief is pricey.
Yeah. He's sweet though.
Yeah, super sweet.
Because I would like a zombie deck, I think. I think I need to have a
Yeah.
I have a mono black deck, maybe even 2 of them, but I would like a zombie deck, an actual zombie deck.
My zombie deck uses Sultai Suit.
Yeah. Dimir zombies is definitely an option.
It's not Dimir, it's Sultai.
Well, yes.
Because of let's see. I can bring this card up on stream. People watching can see the card I'm talking about because it's got cool art. This card is why I wanted my zombie deck to be Sultai. It's called Strength of Night.
Oh my god, I love that card so much.
Yep.
John Avon art of just a close up of a wolf's face. It's a 3 mana green instant with a kicker for 1 additional black mana. And it says creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. If you pay the kicker cost, zombies you control get additional +2/+2.
Yeah, you just giant growth all your zombies.
For 4 mana, all your zombies get +3/+3. This is overrun.
Yeah.
But cheaper without the trample.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I love that card so much. That is a very good reason to not just be mono black zombies.
Yeah. I like this because it like for a long time I was on a quest to make a deck for each color combination. And I stared at the Sultai Soothsayer for a long time. Like, what am I going to do with you? You're boring. You don't do anything interesting. Like, I'm gonna flicker you and the combo. That's boring. And then when Amonkhet happened, like we got a lot of like Eternalize and the other one, Embalm and Eternalize. I was like, oh, there's a lot of really cool zombie flavored stuff you can do from graveyards, and a lot of it's blue. And then right after that in War of the Spark, we got all the Amass cards, which also gives us like a lot of blue zombie flavored stuff that was really cool. And I was like, okay, so I can use the Soothsayer to fill my graveyard with zombie cards that I can use from the graveyard.
Yeah.
And I can use the Soothsayer to put Strength of Night into my hand. That was the play.
That is pull that deck back up. That's Sultai deck.
Yeah.
I wanted to look at I've been brewing a lot of 3-color decks lately. I want to see your rock/land package.
So the land is here. I got 36 of them.
You don't have to read every one of them, but
7. The basics are 7, 7, and 9.
–
So that's, what was that? 14, 20, 23. 23 untapped basics. It looks like I have a couple of zombie lands. Cranially Cursed.
for sure.
Haunted Fengraph for the zombie lands. Looks like I've got the dual typed ones from Dominaria. And the gain lands.
Okay.
Apparently. And the bounce lands.
Now, do you have a bounce land for each color pair?
Yeah, I always do these things in cycles.
Okay.
Like if there's one gain land, then there's all 3 gain lands.
Okay. I always struggle with not the gain lands, the bounce lands. I always struggle with the bounce lands in a 3-color deck. I never know. I might as well just jam all 3 of them or whatever.
Yeah, this deck tends to get mana hungry because I have a big hand that I want to be casting a lot of spells from my hand, and I want to be like, casting this 6 mana spell. This is from the graveyard. This is a 6 mana 4/4.
Yeah, double
which
blue.
Is super overcosted for a 4/4, but
it's a free card. I mean,
it's overcosted because it doesn't cost a card from your hand.
Right.
And there's a lot of that in this deck that is just really mana hungry. So having all the bounce lands lets me get up to 14, 15 mana so that I can be doing the things I want to do with all this Embalm. This is a 4 mana 2/1. Like, I'm not even sure this should be in the deck. It's a terrible card, but Embalm was like the primary motivator for me making this deck.
Yeah.
Here's a 5 mana scavenge card. Like, all right.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Here's just a 5 mana 2/2 from the graveyard. Okay. Maybe I'm not super enthusiastic about casting that one until long after I've done everything else I want to do with my mana.
But 27.
Right. When turn 27 happens and there's literally nothing else I could be doing with 5 mana, I will spend it on this to create a single 2/2 black zombie creature token. I'm talking about Reap the Seagraph for anyone who's listening to this and does not have the associated visuals.
Yeah.
But yeah, this deck is mana hungry enough that I want 36 lands and I want 3 of them to be bounce lands so that I'm always hitting the land drops. My ramp package.
Are you on rocks as well?
Yeah, I got 9 pieces of ramp in here. Primal Growth is double ramp because I can sacrifice. I actually really, really like Path to the Festival in 3-color decks. I think the scry is non-trivial and the flashback is huge.
Yeah.
I am on Kodamas, but not Cultivate. Don't ask me why. I don't remember.
Whatever.
I got a Gay Rock
that day.
I got Grow from the Ashes. Far Wanderings I really, really like. I brought this game to the...
Maybe I don't play with Far Wanderings enough or haven't cast it enough to understand. What do you love about that card? Because I know you've mentioned that before when we've talked about ramp.
So
is it just the
deck,
potential, like the threshold potential of
getting a huge if you have a deck that is gonna have a big graveyard, because like the threshold on this is you get 3 land into play.
Yeah, into play. Yep.
That's like unreasonably massive. That's better than Sky Shroud. Sky Shroud Claim. That's 50% better than Sky Shroud Claim for 1 less mana if you have the threshold. I brought this deck to the very first time I ever visited the Pals. I brought this deck, and it was one of the first decks I played because it was fairly new at the time, and I was curious to see how it worked. And very early in the game, I hit Far Wanderings with Threshold. I returned it to my hand with some sort of Archaeomancer, and then I hit it again.
Gross.
And I was just up like 6 lands on the table. It was, the explosiveness of Far Wandering. Like, I really like Grow from the Ashes because for 5 mana it gets you 2, and Far Wanderings has the potential if you can support the graveyard stuff. And this is a graveyard deck. It's got a lot of self mill. It's got the Soothsayer is going to fill up my graveyard. I'm going to yeet stuff into my graveyard a lot. Like, it's not hard for me to have Threshold.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's it too. I just don't tend to play a lot of Graveyard Matters decks.
Yeah, if you're not going to be messing with your graveyard, then Far Wanderings isn't outstanding.
So yeah, that would make sense why I don't cast it very often.
Yeah. I've also got the zombie mana dork. It's group hug with a cactus. I missed the context of that one.
Yeah, me too.
What's group hug with a cactus? This is a chat message from Scooby Drew that I missed. Explain yourself, Scooby.
Explain your comment. Oh, in 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Time flies.
I
I've
know.
only updated like 5 of my decks. What's going on?
I don't know.
You're talking too much.
I know. It's what you get for
I am
talking to
talking
us.
way too much. Liam's been getting so much work done.
See,
I'm
You
over
have
here
no
just
idea.
losing my
the whole
voice.
point of this is so I could see the inner workings of your deck, so I can metagame you for Monday's stream. What are
Oh
those?
yeah.
Yep.
It's,
That's
this is the way.
it. This is the way. Start a podcast, do a live episode, get them to open Mox Field. You're off to the races.
All right. Why didn't I buy a bunch of angelic interventions? Did I?
Because it's good. Or you asked why didn't you?
Why didn't I?
Oh, it is a good card.
I was so sure that I had bought some.
Oh, what do you think? Do you want to start wrapping it up?
Sure.
Yeah, this stream will be up on YouTube probably roughly the same time that the audio version of this hits the podcast platform. So if you need to watch it later, I guess if you're watching it later, that means you're not watching it now, so you're not hearing this. But it'll be up there later if you want to check it out. So I don't know. I appreciate everybody hanging out. It was a good time. Good casual talk. Just sort of everything sort of flowed together. Watch Dave work on some decks. Do you have any last words, Liam or Dave? Do you want to leave the great people of the chat?
I want Scooby to explain what he meant. What is group hug with a cactus?
The joke was
Moments
about
past, he says.
Yeah.
Okay. Arumi doing it, but Arumi.
Yep.
Shepherd of Rot. Group hug with a cactus. Okay. I got it. Okay.
Still works. The moment was still alive.
Yes. Thank you.
Cool. I want to big thanks to everybody for hanging out, chatting, throwing us some questions. That's always a good time. If I don't know, this is probably something we'll do on the regular. I can't imagine we'll do it like every other week or anything like that, but so far once every 6 months seems to be about the sweet spot. So what do you think, Dave? You want to do another live one, or are you over it? Are you emotionally over it?
I'm ready for another live one. I love these things.
I do too. They're pretty fun.
So what's weird is that I like a lot of what I love about these is audience interaction, but like I'm so focused on like doing the decks thing that I'm not paying close attention to the chat. Like I totally miss Scooby Drew saying it's how my Yearlock EDH deck plays. I end up hurting myself a bunch also. And I love that for you, Scooby. But I just kind of miss things because I'm like focused on my decks. So I think I need to not do this is how I update decks live episode anymore.
I think it was a cool concept though. It was a nice little peek behind the curtain.
You'll see how Liam updates. You'll see how Liam does it next.
Yeah. This is how I update decks. Yeah. I just grab a pile of cards and I'm like, where do they go?
There's a little bit of hair pooling. There's a little bit of agonizing. It's fine.
Scooby wants to know if we're getting another live episode in June.
We might do a live recording of some sort, some content creation. Up in
June 24th, maybe?
Yeah, June 24th.
I don't know. Maybe? June 24th. Where's June 24th? Oh, okay. Yep, I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was sitting here. I'm like sitting in June. I'm like all of our weeks in June are booked. I'm looking at the topics. Like, it's next week we need to worry about.
We got nothing for next week.
Yeah. Once we get past next week, we got like we got all the way through June.
Nice.
All the way through June is planned. We just need to get next week.
That's how podcasting is professionally done.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're professionals. making stuff up as we go.
Anyone still in the chat, we're definitely open to options too about future episode formatting, I guess. Episode formats, whether it's live, maybe the next one we can stream to YouTube, that sort of thing. Just any ideas you have, just throw them at us. We're open for pretty much anything. Obviously, we like just casual PDH talk. We like doing structured stuff. We're pretty well down for anything as long as it gets our voices out there and gets our content on the internets.
I think next
our
time I'm
voices
going to come.
and your ideas.
Next time I'm going to come with a collection of god awful cards, and I'm going to convince everyone here they're good by the end of the stream.
I like that.
Perfect.
I think we all should. I think we should have a pet card stream.
It's like this is definitively a pet. Bad in every metric. There are 3 better cards in each different way, but this one's the best, and here's why.
you have to play this one. Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Oh gosh, I had one that just popped in my head, and I'm gonna see if anyone can guess it. It is from Zendikar Rising. It is a common,
okay,
and it is green. I cannot remember if it is an instant or sorcery, so let me go find it. It is a sorcery. It is a green sorcery common. That's all I'm going to give you. See if you can... Anyone. Just objectively, this is a pet card.
Field Trip. No, that was Strixhaven. That's all I got.
What are the chat responses, anyone?
Build a cube. Oh, we could work on building a PDH cube live. That's what Whale says. No guesses yet.
No guesses?
A green sorcery from Zendikar Rising? Does it have kicker?
Yep. It does not.
Then I don't know anything.
Say green sorcery from Zendikar.
What's the mana cost?
Brings it to 5 cards. So type in S, ZNR, type sorcery, color identities green. It's a common, so you might want to sort by
Scale the Heights?
100% Scale the Heights. Scale the Heights is an amazing card.
I love that card.
I think it's
3
an
mana,
outstanding card in certain decks.
You get a counter, you get 2 life, you play an additional land, it replaces itself. There's nothing bad about it.
No, it's all upside. Like it's just
all
upside. Yeah.
I windmill slam this card into decks that care about +1/+1 counters. Like I've got it in my Pure Strain
I
Gene
windmill
Stealer
slam
deck.
this into every deck.
I don't do every green deck. There are green decks that
do.
don't care about this card for me.
No, all of them care about it.
Like I think there's a handful of green decks where I would rather be playing Explorer because I don't care about the life and I don't care about the counter. But like those decks also don't run Explorer because I don't want a rampant growth.
That's fair. Now I think I run this. I mean, obviously because it synergizes on almost every level, but I run it in my Herd Baloth deck because it synergizes with the counter. It's mono green, so you're really not drawing that many cards. You need extra card draw. You need the extra land, all that stuff.
Yeah, Baloth really wants that counter, which makes this an outstanding card.
Loves it.
Like in decks that like don't care about the counter, it's only kind of okay.
Right.
Which
No, I think it's a
Liam
great card.
can and will fight me for, and I respect that.
I will. This card is good.
I tried to make it work. I built a 60-card Quandrix. What's the common? The Pledge Mage? Is that the common? Or was it the...
Yes.
The Apprentices were the uncommon. The Pledge Mages were the...
Apprentices are the uncommons.
Yeah, I had a Quandrix Pledge Mage 60-card Pauper deck that was terrible. But I had this in there and Explore and Snap and a Boreal Grazer and all this stuff. And like the goal was to make just a giant Serpentine Curve token. And
yeah.
Make a giant Serpentine Curve token and then get the Pledge Mage up real high because it gets a counter or whatever every time you cast a spell. So that was fun, but it took like, if I did win a game, it took like 16 turns and took forever. So yeah, that card was definitely in there. Because it feels good to cast it. You're just like, I'm doing all the stuff and I like it. Yeah, I think the pet card is a good card. Episode sounds fun. I like that idea.
Yeah, that'll be a fun conversation to have.
Whale says we should build a PDH cube live on air.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm in.
Yep.
I'm bad at building cubes, but I'll do it.
Not great at building cubes. I'm decent at building cubes. It just takes a while. Like I can't sit and build one. Takes me it's sort of a process. But yeah, we could totally do that.
Yeah.
If nothing else, even if it's not all out, every single card, we could lay out the archetypes and the different commanders and that sort of thing. Get as far as we can get before we exhaust ourselves. Cool. I think I'm going to try for a second time to wrap up the show. The first time was about 15 minutes ago, but it's all good.
Second time's a charm.
Second time is a charm. But I think we are going to get out of here. It looks like we got a few people in the chat, and we love you. We appreciate you. Wales, if you want to play Saturday, let me know. It's me, Abby, and Trebor. He's been on a couple times. Let me know. Anywho, now that has been taken care of, I think we're going to get on out of here. And that wraps up everything. Thanks to MTG Brad for letting us use his original music for the show. I used it pretty much for the whole starting soon screen. So that was nice. Nice to listen to him. He's a good dude. And yeah, I think we're going to get on out of here for the week. So if you have any questions, you can hit me and Liam up on Twitter at Pauper Command, at Pauper_B. You can find Dave literally everywhere else but Twitter, anywhere PDH is being talked about. The PDH Pod at gmail.com. Be sure to hit up the Patreon or YouTube channel. Obviously, the Twitch channel. I forgot to throw that earlier in the episode, but that's okay. Things happen in a live episode. And yeah, I think we're going to get out of here. So until next week, brew up. I don't know. I didn't have anything written, so I can't come up with anything clever. So update your decks, play a game, and we'll talk to you in about a week. Peace.
Cheers.
See ya.